Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, we're drinking bourbon. All right, Ben, somebody that we both know has been bugging me saying, you've done a lot of budget reviews, thank you for that, like a lot of budget bourbons, but we need to take it up a notch.
Okay.
Truth of the matter is, I've got a couple of bourbons that are a little bit higher up on my wall.
Sure.
That we should probably get into. So today...
So Greg was kind enough to bring over one of those bottles for today's review. We're going to crack it open. So this is going to be exciting.
It is exciting. I have never had it.
Bam. Van Winkle Special Reserve Lot B.
Lot B.
12-year-old bourbon.
So this is a 12-year, 90.4 proof bourbon.
Okay.
In the Van Winkle line.
The famous Van Winkle line, the most coveted of all bourbons.
Maybe a little too coveted at times.
Yeah. Well, to be perfectly honest, the only one that I've had is the Rip Van Winkle 10-year.
Yep.
Which was good. Really good.
And you
I've
said
never
that.
had one of the actual Pappy Van Winkles.
Neither have I. And you said you thought that the Van Winkle, old Rip Van Winkle was really good.
Yeah.
I was a little concerned when you said that because I've always assumed that maybe there's a little bit of hype and they're not worth chasing.
Yeah, I remember when I had it, and now this was a little while ago. I have a bottle that's open, and we'll have to get into that on a review coming up here, but I do drink that one pretty sparingly.
Here we go.
Nice. Drink that one pretty sparingly just because it is such a rare bottle. It's a good special occasion one. You have a friend over who's really into bourbon that's never had a chance to have that.
Totally.
If you go to a bar that even has it to begin with, you're paying $30-40 for an ounce of it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's nice to have it on hand for that, but it's not like something I sit and drink on the porch when we're having a cigar or something, you know.
Yeah, that would be a waste.
So, but I remember when I first poured that, I kind of joked with my friends that were over here when I did it. It's like, it's almost disappointing because it was really good. You know, and it's like, I wanted it to just be all hype, but it really was good.
Yeah. Then you'd think, okay, I don't have to hunt for it anymore because it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there have been some that I've hunted for, then been disappointed in, and it's easy to remove it from the list and, you know, no longer looking for that. So I'm curious how this goes.
Very rich on the nose.
Oh, wow. Dark fruit. Brown sugar notes.
Wheated bourbon.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's just got some great baking spice to it.
Yeah. Getting oak.
Nice and oaky, yeah. You get the 12-year. We just did a 12-year bourbon, the Knob Creek.
Oh, that's true.
Of course, that's cast strength, so it's 120 proof. This is, what'd you say, 90.4?
90.4, I think.
Okay. Yep, 90.4. So this is really rich and dense. You know. All right, I'm not putting this off any longer.
I agree. I'm going for it.
Look at the legs on that. I mean, that's like oily.
It is oily. It's going to have an incredible mouthfeel.
Yeah. I mean, normally I don't pay too much attention to that, but that is really noticeable. All right, let's go in for it. Cheers.
There's a lot happening there. I initially got cinnamon, toffee, almost like chocolate notes.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really dark flavors. The baking spice there, a little bit of cinnamon. I think kind of balanced amount of cinnamon. Like it's not very. I wouldn't say it's
not cinnamon.
Forward.
No, not at all. I'm also getting like a tobacco note. Like it's got a real earthy kind of.
I can see that.
Yeah. It just occurred to me when we get to the end of this review, nobody's ever going to see it. I had a friend call me and say, "Hey, I got one of these." He manages a liquor store, and I picked it up. You know, and this was a couple years ago, and so if you see it, get it, but
but you'll never see it. You'll never see it on the shelf.
Yeah, problem of a unicorn.
Yeah, this is really good. It's got a good balance of like that sweetness and then that darker oak flavor, and like the Caramels and brown sugars are deep and rich and dark.
Yep.
What's the MSRP on this? Do you know?
It should be $75.
Okay.
And I think
That's probably on the low side too for MSRP. Because I think like I've seen the Rip Van Winkle MSRP for, you know, like 65, 70,
Right.
but I don't think that that's the case anymore.
Yeah, true.
You know, I think that's probably, they've gone up a little bit in the last few years. But yeah, it's interesting. I really think, and it's really good. It's a really good bourbon. Where I think it kind of is missing something is I just wish it was at a little bit higher proof.
So that's interesting. I mean, I agree. Like if this were higher proof, who knows? It'd be different.
Yeah.
But it does. Often when we have a bourbon, we say, "I wish it had been in the oak a little longer." Mm-hmm. I absolutely don't think that about this one. Like there's a flavor, like it feels like it's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not too young.
Yep.
And so I really have to ask the question, having never had any of the longer, you know, the
Pappies that are
20
50
year?
or 23 year.
like, what's that going to be like?
Yeah. A lot of people say the Pappy 23 is over oaked. A lot of people say it's not, that there's a sweet spot and that's not it. Now that's the most coveted because it's the most expensive and the rarest. But
And I'd buy one if I could buy one at a reasonable price. But that's my initial thought is it's as done as I think they could. I'd love to try the 15 year, but
what I would say about this is that this seems like a very, very high quality bourbon.
it does.
Like it's got there's no sharpness in any direction. It's so well balanced and so well rounded out. Like there's plenty of bourbons that have a great flavor to them, but they have a bit of an edge to them or something like that. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
Right.
But this one is really just, like this has a quality mouthfeel and just flavor profile overall.
Yep. Nice consistency.
Very consistent. It's just it's just a really nice bourbon.
It is.
I would, like I said, I'd love to see it at a little higher proof, but that's just me because I like stuff a little bit higher proof.
Yep.
So I say that about most things that are
Yep.
in the 90s when I really like the flavor. You know, it's always like, oh man, what would this taste like with 100 proof or, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say buy this if you get the chance.
Oh, I agree.
But again, it falls into that category of don't pay, you know, $1,000 for this because that's what this stuff goes for.
You know, actually, you mentioned this at the very beginning of the video. I don't think I'd recommend people buy it. If it's a special occasion like your birthday or anniversary or something, go to a restaurant and pay $35 for a pour.
You think so?
I think so.
Like even at MSR, if you got it for MSRP, like in a lottery or something?
If you are in a financial position where it doesn't make a big difference, buy it.
Throw $100 at a bottle of
exactly.
bourbon.
And if you want to own it at any price, but I don't recommend it. But I think that when
Do you not recommend it just solely because it's expensive and you don't think it, like, if you're just looking at the taste of the bourbon versus the price you pay for it?
So I love it, but I definitely feel it is approaching overaged. I don't think it's there yet, but it's getting there. And I notice the fact that I wonder what it was like at 10 year. And maybe that's what your Old Rip Van Winkle is exactly. And so I need to try that. But I mean, that's my concern, is paying a ton of money for it and then actually not being happy with it.
Yeah, I will say this. So I said it was very balanced and it wasn't like sharp or too, you know, edgy in one direction. If you were to pull something like a bit of sharpness or like maybe the more dominant, I don't consider harsh, but maybe the most kind of in-your-face note would probably be the oak.
Oak, yeah.
You know, and if you're not into that, which I do like.
I like it too, but I definitely notice it, which suggests to me
that it may not be for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean it's you know, it's a unicorn bottle.
Yep.
So I mean, I think if you're a collector, you're going to want to buy this if you see it for a reasonable price because you want it on your shelf. Sure. You know, if nothing else, just to flex on your friends, right?
But I would say this is the first time I've ever had the thought. I really would suggest going and buying a 2-ounce pour, 1-ounce pour, whatever, at a restaurant, as opposed to maybe overpaying for something you're unhappy with.
Well, and definitely don't pay, like these go, you know, on the secondary for $1,000 or whatever.
It's crazy.
That is ridiculous. This is not I mean, to be perfectly honest, it's probably not even $100 bourbon as far as, You know, because I mean, what really is a $100 bourbon? What
you have a
makes that?
ton of really good bourbons. I mean,
Yeah.
it's 12 years. I would expect a legitimately high quality bourbon at 12 years to command that kind of price.
Yeah.
That's fair. But
And it's rare, it's limited. There's not a lot of these that come out every year.
yep,
So, yeah, I mean, the price is probably fair, but the quality of the juice, you know, versus however many other things that you've had.
there's so many good bourbons though. It's really hard to justify spending a lot of money on any bourbon from any distillery.
Yeah. But, I mean, either way, it's a really good bourbon. I really like it. I would never, ever turn down a pour of this, but yeah, just, it's not, you know.
Under $100, absolutely.
Yeah.
Over $100, you really have to want it.
Yeah. And I think if you're paying that much and you really want it that bad, it's probably from a collector's standpoint.
Yeah,
maybe.
and then knock yourself out.
Yep. But it's good to have this, you know, you've had this bottle for a while. It's hard to open those rare bottles sometimes because you never know when are you ever going to see another one of these that you can get your hands on for a moderate price.
Yeah.
So on one hand, you want to just keep it because you want to have that on your shelf.
Yeah,
But then at some point,
you got to drink it.
you want to experience the bourbon too because that's really what it's made for. So
The last thing you want to do is have that given to someone else because you died.
yeah, exactly.
Unopened.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
That would.
So drink your whiskey while you have it. You can't take it with you.
Exactly.
All right, well, this has been Van Winkle, Lot B.
Sorry to end on a downer, but it's been a great bourbon. Drink it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get a chance, yeah, sure, try this one.
Totally agree.
All right, well, this has been the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Thanks for watching. Cheers.